Hey Sun Space Sun, I'm Daisy Viktoria. Today we are going to make a super fun fairy, fae creature costume that I have designed. I really love sewing and creating things. I also love bringing things to life that are purely from my imagination. And designing things from scratch is just it's so fun. And I hope you will enjoy it too. The first fabric I'm gonna use is this kind of shimmery organza. It's actually 2 curtain panels that I thrifted. They're very, very long, so I'm gonna cut them in half and then basically use those 4 pieces to form like an underskirt or the first skirt layer. Then I'm gonna take all of this amazing fabric and I'm gonna use that to create another layer for the skirt. The goal of this costume was really to make something that was just a lot of fun. I wanted to wear it to the Renaissance Festival, and so some of the reveal footage is going to include going to the festival in this costume. Because let's face it, as much as I love researching historically accurate Renaissance period clothing, the Renaissance Festival, especially the one near me, is so filled with fantasy. It's totally an excuse to let my inner fantasy out. And speaking of letting my inner self out, did you notice my new hair? This is actually the first time I've ever had my hair professionally done like this. And I got like an ombre from, it's like this kind of fuchsia red blending into blue. So we go through some purple. It's so good. I love it. So shout out to Sam and Leah from the Indigo Hair Salon who have helped me so much to bring what's on the inside of me to the outside. So for this costume, that's really what I wanted to do, is bring some inner imaginations to the outside. So you'll see throughout the process how I start with a concept and I kind of adapt it as I go to whatever feels right or kind of seems like it fits with the materials that I'm using. I also think that this type of costume is very accessible because I'm not doing anything that's super duper complex in making this. I'm kind of toning down the complexity and upping the decoration, we'll say. And you'll see in the next video why I really wanted to kind of make this a little bit simpler so I could focus more of my time on a cool accessory and a totally new technique that I've never done before. So if you want to see what that is that adds on to this costume, that is the next project. Sometimes it just feels so good to make something that makes you happy, and I think we all could use some of that in our lives. I thrifted some fabric for this fairy dress and I was so excited about it. It's this really cool pink and gold organza. So I put my fabric in the washing machine. This is how it came out. So this has never happened to me before. This obviously was not the poly organza that I thought it was. So I'm ironing it to try to get it as flattened back out as I can. So the fabric is coming out not quite as totally flat as it started, but I think that's okay because I kind of like the textured look. I think it'll go really well. I'm already planning on putting a lot of textures into this dress, so I am going to go with it. And if anyone asks, this is how it was intended to be. No one will ever know. Shh, don't tell. So I'm burn testing this fabric to try to see what the fiber content is. It's very interesting. The pink fibers basically disintegrated entirely, and the gold fibers have kind of burned with a little bit of ashy, gray ash, which actually may be the pink fibers, because when I kind of pull on them, that gray ashy comes off. So we definitely have 2 types of fibers here. It's interesting because I'm not getting a distinct smell. I'm wondering if the gold threads are actually metallic, maybe? What do you guys think? Do any of you know what the fiber content might be of this? The first actual sewing I did on this dress was for the skirt. Here I'm sewing those skirt panels together, so I'm just basically making a very large rectangle, or rather two very large rectangles, right? One of the gold and one of the pink. I created a waistband for the skirt by using that pink fabric and applying an interfacing to the back side of it and then folding it over upon itself to create a lovely waistband. We're about to do something a little bit funky here. The corset maker is going to use a pre-made corset in this gown. I know. So I got this basic little corset top. It was less than the cost of the materials I usually use. It was by far less than the cost of my time. And I don't intend for this dress to be something that's like really cinching me in. So this is a corset that, you know, it fits me. It's like a laced bodice and I think it'll work. Now I did redo the lacing in this corset, so it was not laced the way a corset normally is. It was laced so it tied either on top or bottom, I don't remember. But I like to tie all of my corsets in the center with the bunny ears method. So it's ready to be embellished and built into a dress. Now, just to be perfectly clear here, this is not what many would term a real corset, nor does it have nearly the construction level of the corsets that I normally make. This is something that works great for a fashion piece. It's fun. It's actually pretty well made for the low price. And it's something I can build off of for this dress, which is really for fun, and it's not going to be cinching my waist in, it's just for looks. Here I'm gathering the skirt, and after I attached it to the waistband, both layers of the skirt, of course, I have a beautiful skirt, and I left it open in the front, and you'll see as we go on how that's going to show like a little pair of shorts underneath, and it's going to look really nice. I decided that the bottom of the skirt didn't really flare out and have enough body, so what I did to enhance that was I added horsehair. This is very, very wide horsehair, and that basically gives some extra structure to the bottom of the skirt. I applied the horsehair only on the gold layer because I figured the pink layer is on top of it. This is a very lightweight skirt, so the gold layer is really providing just enough structure for what I was going for. So I've got my underlayer of that gold organza and then the overlayer of that really cool pink. Since the underlayer was already a curtain, I didn't have to hem it. I just used the hem as the hem of the skirt. I did end up adding some horsehair to the bottom of the hem just to give it a little bit more body. I think it looks a little bit better that way. This one I did have to hem, so you know, no big deal. Those layers are gathered into a waistband, which attaches in front with a skirt hook. My idea is that the skirt is a separate piece, so the bodice, which I'm draping and you can see, is going to be attached to the corset, and then the skirt is going to be something you put on top of it. For the bodice, I basically cut these rectangles of fabric and I'm draping them right now, so I'm trying to see how exactly I want them to go. So I'm getting them to where they're kind of gathered up here by the neckline. Then what I'm going to do at the corset area is I'm going to gather it here and sew it onto the corset. So I'm just kind of draping it because I like to see exactly how I like the positioning and just what I think looks aesthetically pleasing. And then that's basically going to be the structure of the gown. Then it's going to get a lot of embellishments. I've been pulling out some floral I have a collection of fake floral, so no shortage there. And once I decorate it in fake floral, rhinestones, sparklies, and the like, it's gonna be time to move on to the chest piece and the warbler that I've never used before in my life. So it's kind of good that the gown itself is not that terribly complex. This has been taking me a little bit longer to work with these fabrics than I had expected, but that's usually how it goes because I have a completely warped sense of time. I'm basically making the top out of 2 rectangles of that pink fabric. I did double it over. It still is going to be somewhat sheer, but a little less sheer than if it was 1 layer. Now this corset piece dips down at the bra cup area, so what I'm doing is making sure that I have that same dip in my rectangular pieces because I want that to fit and look like it actually belongs there. So once I cut off like a curve at the bottom of those pieces, I gathered them so that they fit into the cup area of that corset. As a side note, this corset piece is on Amazon, so I will link that in my Amazon shop as well in case you are interested in trying out this type of method yourself. And then to complete the structure of this top, we need a neckband. So I cut a curved piece to create a neckband. Basically, it looks like a fabric necklace. I did a little bit of draping with that neckband to see just how exactly I wanted it and how I thought it looked good. This is definitely a dress that requires a bit of draping on the top. Once I figured out how I liked those bodice pieces attached to the neckband, I cut them off so that they were the right height and gathered them right into that neckband. Okay, next it's time for flowers and decorations. I love this part of making fairy and fantasy gowns. I think it's really a part where you can just get creative and artistic, and you can kind of just fill in things however you want. I used a whole bunch of fake flowers and I just started placing them. I like to place the flowers with pins first and see just how I like them, how I think they look good, get a general layout. That doesn't mean that I can't change it later, it just gives me a starting point. I also wanted to add flowers throughout the skirt, so I'm concentrating the flowers around the corset, but making sure that they also kind of fall down the skirt. So it's as if the flowers have just fallen upon me. I stitched all of these flowers on by hand, and I used a small seed bead on the inside of each one to kind of anchor it to the fabric and also to give it a little inner portion of the flower. This process can take a long time. As you can see, there's a lot of hand sewing flowers on, and for things like this, I kind of like to use it as a sort of meditative time. It's a time when I can sit and I can think about things and I can reflect, because I do need a little bit of concentration to make sure I'm placing things the way that I like them. There's a little bit of artistry going on here, and I think that kind of helps me to get into a meditative state, because creativity and artistic drive is something that really kind of motivates me at my core, and it helps me to get into a reflective state where I can just sort of reflect on who I am and where I'm going and all kinds of things. So if that's something that resonates with you, I really think that using something like tactile, repetitive tasks that require a little bit of creativity can just be a really nice way to sit with yourself and your ideas for a bit. I've also been going through a little bit of a rough growth patch lately. I think that sometimes that's necessary to get us to where we need to go. This dress was actually something that kind of helped me to think about where I am on that growth journey and where I'm going. So it actually turned out to be a really special dress for more reasons than just liking the design of it. Well, I've realized that the skirt is too long, so gotta fix that. I normally do like to make my skirts extra long because I like to have the opportunity to wear heels with them, but I'm gonna be wearing this to the Renaissance Festival and I'm not gonna wear heels. I'm gonna wear flat, comfy shoes. So what I'm doing is fixing both layers. So basically I've taken the under layer, which I added the horsehair to, and I'm folding it up. So basically this is gonna encase the horsehair in more of the fabric, which I think is nice anyway, but that way I don't have to take off the horsehair and start over, so that's good. So I'm just gonna sew that higher up. This is gonna make that off the ground, but that's gonna be pretty cool because it's just gonna help the skirt to stand out a little bit more. And then for the rest of the skirt, I've kind of marked here where I want the hem to end all the way around, and I'm just going to re-hem it since I hemmed it anyway. So yeah, then it'll be the right length and that'll be really good. For the rhinestones on the corset, I'm gluing these on using gem tack, and I do have a whole video where I glued on a bunch of rhinestones using gem tack before, and I kind of went over the process in more detail, so I will link to that as well. Here I think you can get a good idea of how I did it for this particular project. And I'm just placing these where I think they look good. So again, it's all about that artistic touch. I left the skirt open in front so that way I'll be able to like open up the front and kind of tie it to the sides, so that way I can wear something cute underneath and have a whole other look. So I attached ribbons about 7.5 inches down from the waistband on the front edges, and then I attached ribbons at the side, like about the side seams of the waistband, so I can tie those up, and I got another look. Okay, so that didn't work out. It totally did not bustle up enough, so I changed it, and now I just have the two ribbons both on the inside, so that way when I bustle it up, I'll be able to pull one over the top and one under and kind of like pull the whole skirt up. So that's actually gonna work much better. This method of bustling makes the skirt really adjustable, so you can actually play with how much you have sort of puffed through the front. I like to do kind of a small puff at the front, and that way it's going to show my little shorts that I'm going to wear underneath here as well. One more thing I need for this dress is a flower crown. I'm using a standard plastic headband and I'm covering it with 2 layers of this pink fabric. I'm using 2 layers because it's rather sheer and I want to make sure that pink really shows, even though I'm covering it with flowers. I am hot gluing flowers onto the headband. I'm using these lovely pink flowers. And I'm putting a bunch of the leaves that came with the flowers on the back side to create a large crown effect. And finally, I added a few rhinestones throughout the flower crown. Okay, now when I'm wearing this dress, you might notice the top is a bit sheer. Now, we don't want any wardrobe malfunctions, so I actually got a new type of pasties. They look like this. They're pretty large and they're sticky on the back, like all over. There's a plastic on it there. They're a bit more substantial than regular pasties, so they can give you like a little bit of support and lift as well. The stickiness does have a lifespan, so keep in mind you can use these a couple of times, then you might need some Prozaid or something. I tried Spirit Gum and it's okay, but I think the Prozaid will be better. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys these because they really kind of saved me with this costume. And I'll link to them on Amazon as well, so you can find them if you think that they would help you too. So here we are at the Texas Renaissance Festival, really trying this outfit out in the wild. I found these really friendly horses here. I do think that the best way to get around on this outfit is by riding my unicorn. This is the utmost way to ride in style. What do you think? And also, if you could have the ride of your dreams, what would that be for you? I'm so happy with this dress. I feel like I took these little elements, like these thrifted fabrics, that was amazing, and this cheap little bustier and some fake flowers, and I just turned it into something that's so cool. It's really fun to wear this at fair. I love how it's got 2 ways to wear it, so I can wear the skirt all the way down, or I can bustle the skirt up in the front, so it's good for slight variation in weather. Maybe not too bad, but a little bit. I've always been so interested in the fairy realm, and whether I'm being an actual fairy, an elf, or something else entirely, I just love it so much. If you're interested in seeing what I add on to this project next time, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Make sure you come back for the next video. If you found some inspiration and this helps you to create something you designed, or maybe you just took some techniques from here and you made something, tag me, because I would love to see what you did with this. I am Daisy Viktoria on all the social medias. My website is daisyviktoria.com. And a special thank you to my patrons over on Patreon who help me so much to continue creating amazing videos and content for all of you guys to see. I am so excited to show you the rest of this costume next time. I hope you have an absolutely magical day, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.